Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Suited Kings podcast. Today, we're going to do a little bit of a different episode. We have a former guest on. He's back for a second time. Welcome back in to Ryan Laplante. Today, we're going to just go over some listener hands and then a couple of other hands that we have from our own place. So welcome, Ryan. How you doing?
Doing good. Thanks for having me on. I always enjoy being on. Also, congrats on the final table last night. Max, how'd you end up?
Yeah.
Oh God.
Touchy subject.
It really is. So, they say like,
it's never good when you start with a philosophical statement.
As you get better at poker, you learn.
That's how I feel about my Venom FT.
Well, I want to hear about that as well. I'll ask you actually in a second about that. But just briefly, like I came in third of 9.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I played like absolute shit. And I ended up busting 8th. So, it's easy to say, like, I lost a flip where it was kind of the spot I needed to take. But when you actually can blame yourself, that's when I'm actually upset with myself instead of something that's out of my control. So, ended up busting 8th. But was on one bullet. Ended up, profiting around 4,500 on the weekend. So can't complain about that. Although it still sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that are the worst. Like, they feel the worst in the moment, even though you'd still much rather get 8th than bust day one.
Yeah, I got to remind myself that afterwards because it's like
it takes a while.
It does, yeah. But a Venom final table for you, Ryan. I actually don't think I was aware of that. When was this?
That was a few months ago, right?
End of April, yeah.
Oh, maybe I was. What happened?
Okay, so here I'll do the long version of the story. Okay, so I had so this was so obviously Venom's coming up. I knew like the last flight was coming up. And this was, I think Club WPT had maybe like just started their multi-tabling and it was still glitchy as all hell. So I was barely playing any volume on there. Or maybe they hadn't launched it yet. So since the Venom stuff was running and since I wasn't really playing any volume on there, I was like, fine, I'll still play volume on ACR. But I usually on ACR, I was only playing up to 109s. Anyways, I essentially busted my account on there, but I had some funds from Rakeback on there.
Okay.
So I had $3 in my account, but I had some Rakeback funds.
Oh, yeah.
I used the Rakeback funds to satellite into the Venom.
Okay.
And then I final table it. Going to the final table, I'm 5 of 9 and bust hand 1.
How many entries were in that? Probably
FT
like 3,000?
is the largest FT of my career.
Really? Was it like $1 million up top, or how much was up top in that?
1.5 mil up top. Plus hand 1.
And then, how much was 9th place?
9th was 122. I needed 7th would have been the largest score of my career.
And it was and you came in 5th. I mean, that is. How did you feel? Like, walk us through that.
I mean, honestly, okay, so like, when I satellited, obviously super happy. I also like, not only when I like satellited in and it was like, I don't know, 4 hours past the start of the tournament, I immediately tripled my stack. I then messaged a buddy of mine. I was like, hey, I just randomly satellited into the Venom off of Rakeback. You want like a really high variance, low EV degen. So I sold a buddy of mine 10%
nice.
at phase for 3x start. Some buddy of mine got a small piece of it, and then I was playing pretty well, I thought. And then like midway through day 2, I had this like barrel off spot where I midway through day 2 we're not quite in the money. We're like getting kind of close to the money, but it's not quite in the money. Like I have this like barrel off spot where I c-bet flop, barrel turn, and I rivered 3rd pair. And it's a spot where it's just like an auto triple barrel. And I just like, I river 3rd pair and I don't think about it. And I check back because, showdown.
Showdown val. Yeah.
And I just like go like, what the fuck am I doing here? So I like, really decided to like lock in. And over the course of this tournament, I think I literally got like 14 4-bet bluffs through. I got like 3 or 4 3-bet flop bluffs through. I got like a handful of turn check raises. Like I just like went for it. In fact, with a couple tables left, someone that I know in just through poker messaged me and told me that that it was him, which I really appreciated because I didn't realize who it was. And then after the tournament, he was like, "Man, you played like a savage," which I was really high praise because like halfway through day 2, I thought like I was playing like not scared, just like not that great. So like I really tried my best to just like really knuckle in and lock down and just like play really, really hard and really well. And I've been trying my best to really study a lot and really just try to play difficult, like try to be tough to play verse and try to lock in. Anyways, so going into the final 30, I had a pretty good stack. And then I had a couple kind of awkward and tough spots. And one of the spots actually I flop bottom set with like 30 people left in this weird 3-way spot. And if I hadn't watched this GTO lab video, I actually would have just gone broke on it. I would just raise flop stacked off and just gone broke. But I watched this GTO lab video literally like a week before that showed just how ridiculous ICM is in these spots, especially in these like weird 3-way deep end game ICM spots. So I just peeled it. So it's just like this weird confluence of events. And then so like I'm feeling really good, I'm playing really well, I'm running really well, obviously. Because like for those of you who don't know, if you've never played the Venom is essentially like a poker go 10K or like the equivalent of playing like a 10K 6 max at the World Series. So it's just an incredibly difficult tournament, except there's probably a decent amount of multi-accounting, a decent amount of RTAing, and then on top of that, it has a main event structure. So it's incredibly difficult. There's a decent amount of cheating and has an incredibly good structure. So in order to run deep in it, you have to run hot, and it's just insanely difficult. And then on top of that, when I final table it, since I satellited in, and I didn't really sell any, it was obviously a really big spot for me, and like I said, biggest FT of my career. So the difference even between like 9th and even 6th would have been pretty massive for me, and the difference between 9th and 1st would have been insane. And then I'm like, we actually made the FT really early on, pretty early on going into the day. And when you make the FT, it ends play. And what's kind of silly is I had scheduled this in-person coaching thing for that day. So I FT the Venom, and then that day I had to do this in-person coaching thing for like 12 people. So I FT the Venom, I do this in-person coaching thing. And then the FT starts pretty late. So then the day of the FT, I wake up super early so I can get in like a 4-hour study session with some friends of mine. And we're just running all these FT sims. We're doing sims based off of, if the stack layouts stay the way they are, if stack layouts change, if I get 5-handed, 6-handed, and I just bust hand one.
That's you do all that prep and get into the biggest spot in your life. I mean, it was that hand kind of just, is it something?
Yeah, it was an auto bust spot. It was chip lead opens.
Yep.
Second in chips 3-bet, and I have ace king off like 32 bigs.
Okay.
And my jam like made like $90,000 or something like that.
What? That's actually crazy.
In theory, yeah.
In theory. What did you run into?
Aces, right?
Aces.
Oh, it was aces. God.
Just stone aces.
I mean, it's heartbreaking, and only in poker, or maybe not only in poker, but definitely in poker, out of the few things can you, make 6 figures and just feel like in shambles afterwards.
No, honestly, I was really happy about it.
You were?
Honestly, okay, so
good. I'm glad to hear that.
The very next day, I played a full schedule, buy-ins ranging between $10 and $300, and I made like 6 FTs and won a main event seat and had like a plus 15K day.
Oh, that's massive.
Yeah, that's great.
I think it's actually important that you brought that up because I think a lot of people get what's the word I'm looking for? They, when you're playing for
desensitized to like, when you do really well and like you feel as though like, oh, I had this big success, so I'm gonna like be like, I don't need to work, I don't need to do this. Like I kind of did it as like a test to see if I can go from like that big of a situation to just playing a normal schedule and see if I could still be focused and play well and put in a good session and, play well even at the bottom end of my buy-in range. And I thought I played great the next day.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm glad to hear that you hit that score. It's really nice and probably feels really good going into the summer with that. So
yeah.
And how did the series go for you?
Low to mid stakes, I did well. And then high stakes, I got absolutely demolished. So buy-ins up to 3K, I made money in pretty much every level. And then buy-ins 5K or higher, I went 0 for like 13 or 14.
Yeah.
So tournaments were tournaments.
Yeah, tournaments were tournaments, that's for sure. Yeah, actually, Wes had quite the night last night. Wes, you want to talk about that real briefly?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, it was a good night. So Ryan, I don't know if you know, but I've been doing a bankroll challenge on Twitch.
You haven't watched? I've been seeing you make updates and stuff about it.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, I recently I've been playing more cash and it's been going quite well. But Sundays are still MTT days, so I got third in a 110 on global, and then I got fifth in one of the long cars on ACR.
Just a lot of final tables, yeah.
Yeah. Actually, it was only those two final tables.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah. I had like a 10th as well, and then I don't know.
I popped in a couple times, so
yeah.
Start the bankroll at, and what are you up to?
10K, and I'm at 47K. So
in how long?
So I took 2 months off, so it's like been 6.5 months, but really 4.5 months. If you remove the 2 months. So I'm doing it where I have to have at least 40 buy-ins for a cash game and at least 125 buy-ins for a tournament. And yeah, trying to do
aggressive
10K
bankroll management, but yeah, that's great.
It definitely is, in the sense of like, if you, I'm looking at it from the sense of, if you are let's say you're someone who takes poker seriously and has a job, so you have like income, but you want to become a pro, and kind of looking at it from that standpoint. I think if you're looking to make a full-time income from poker, it definitely is aggressive from that standpoint. But yeah, it's like I'll have days, my worst days, I had a couple where I lost between 4 and 5K, and it's like, if you're that was a big percentage to lose of the bankroll, so it's like I'll have days where I'll increase and decrease it by like 10 to 20%. Maybe not now as much, but we'll see.
You've been doing pretty damn well over the past couple of weeks, to say the least.
Yeah, it's been fun. Yeah. I guess the other way I look at it is I've streamed for 485 hours now. So that's a good way
crazy.
That's a good way to kind of estimate the amount of time.
I love seeing that you've been building up, slowly a following on Twitch too. Like your base viewership is just slowly kind of increasing.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so he's been grinding that as well. Well, we have some hands to break down here, but we were just talking about the WSOP, Ryan. You told me something about a fold with kings, so let's talk about that quick before we break this down.
So this is the Suited Kings podcast, so let's hand one. Let's give it a nice pocket kings fold. Okay, so this is not only is this a pocket kings fold, it is a very rare pocket kings fold. Okay, so usually when you fold kings pre-flop, it's like, especially live, it's like the most obvious kings fold of all time. It's, your opponent, they're like old man coffee, it's like a 5-bet jam, or like this person, you've seen them like call queens pre-flop versus an open, like that type of stuff.
Yep.
Instead, the opener in the hand, probably like 23-year-old German kid. And then the 3-better is like early 30s European, who I've played a lot with. So both players are young European professionals, and neither of them are tight.
Okay.
The opener has 9 big blinds. I have 27 big blinds, and the other player in the hand has like 32 big blinds.
Is this the main event?
No, It's not the main. Okay. It is start of day 3 of the monster stack, so still like 300 people left. So it's not a huge ICM spot. It's not a satellite. Yeah. And it's 2 young European professionals. So Definitely not the start of a king's fold pre-flop, but it should make sense till I folded it. Okay, so German kid opens off of like 8.5 bigs under the gun. So alarm bells should start going off.
Yeah. Wow.
Under the gun, one calls. So this is the other
Also.
European pro.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do they both have aces? What?
Okay, wait. So folds to my hijack. I 3-bet, and I 3-bet to a size so the opener can jam and keeps the action open. So I go 4.8 bigs. So it goes 2 bigs, call 4.8 bigs, folds to the opener who goes all in for his 8.5 bigs, and then under the gun 1 back jams.
God, that's so sick.
So the opener is all in for 8.5. I have him covered by 18 bigs.
Yeah.
I think the opener has aces.
Okay. What were you going to say,
Wes? I have covered by 18 bigs.
Yeah. Do they both literally, is this a spot where they both have aces? Because even if we think the opener has aces, that means the flatter, the guy who back jammed, like we can still call if we think we only beat him, because that's
because it's an 18 big blind side pot.
Yeah, we're more worried about the side pot. I mean, the main pot will still be big because of there's 3 people.
But the opener is good enough where he could technically have queens and kings, right?
Yeah.
So that's that's part of the concern is he could have queens and kings.
Yeah.
So, okay. But he doesn't always just have aces. If he had like 7 bigs, then I'd be concerned about him only having aces. But I still thought it was pretty likely he would have aces, which makes me less inclined to think Under Gun 1 has aces. But I came to the exact same conclusion that you had, Wes. So when they're both all in, I just start talking through the hand. And the guy who, the second guy, he actually, spoiler alert, he actually went on to final table the event. Same as Ivan Rubin. Plays a lot in Vegas, so I've played a lot of hours with him. I know he's a really good player, definitely a solver guy. And I was just I just don't see how you don't have aces here. But the funny thing is, so this is literally me talking out loud. I just think, this German kid here, he just has to have aces here. So I'm just actively talking out loud. I just think you both just have to have aces here. There's just no way you both don't have exactly aces. And I was just fine, okay, I fold. You both have to have aces. And they just both flip up aces.
Yeah.
And then Ite was sitting on my left and just goes, "What the fuck, Ryan? What a crazy fold."
Yeah. They both had aces. Good read, Wes. Yeah. Very, very nice. I mean, it makes sense, but it's easier in hindsight to say it was grateful, but in real time, that's not easy at all.
Most people would just go, I have kings, and then just stick it in.
And especially like you said, you guys are not deep.
I 3-bet off 27 bigs, which most people again would 3-bet to 7 bigs.
So you lost 4.5 bigs with kings. That's pretty sick.
That might be, apart from a satellite, that's probably a record.
That's incredible. All right. Well, would you have hit a king?
No, thankfully.
That's the other thing is there aren't any aces left.
I did one time in my life get an aces versus kings, and kings did come out victorious that hand.
Oh.
Yeah, that was a while back, but
I would have felt pretty bad. And then the funny thing is 3 or 4 hands later, I got in ace jack suited versus kings and then busted. So I just busted 2.
Yeah, so it does. Ironic, that was the start of day 2 of the Monster
3.
Started day 3, so it was 300 people left or something.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, yeah, I did bust that tournament. Both the main and the Monster first level of day 2, I busted kings versus aces. But anyways,
you guys want to break down some hands?
Let's break down some more hands.
All right, awesome. So we asked some Discord listeners to send us some hands, and we're gonna just give our honest opinions on these. So I appreciate to everyone who reached out and DM'd me some hands. And today we're going to start with Surreal X. He's a common name in the Discord, and he sent us a hand here. Of course, it's in poker tracker format, which I hate reading, but maybe Wes feels the same. Ryan, how about you? You use poker tracker still or no?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of reading the poker tracker hand histories in any form outside of the raw text format.
Gotcha. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. So, go ahead,
and Max,
Wes.
this is John Coffin.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, people would probably be more familiar with that.
It's funny. I thought that's who it was, but I wasn't sure because it pops up because his name will pop up as John Coffin and Surreal X in different places. So,
Yep.
I was not sure if that was actually the case. So, anyways, starts off with early position opening 42 bigs. Looks like he opens to 2 big blinds. It doesn't say exactly what position, just says EP.
Okay, so EP open off 42. What event is this?
This is an online, let's see, it's an ignition event. Looks like they're at the 6K, 12K big blind level. It's a 10 max. Interesting.
All right, so this is probably early stages in the money on Iggy.
Is it? Okay. Yeah, I don't play on ignition much.
That'd be my guess.
Yeah, I mean they have 502. The early position has 502K, and big blind has 697K. So, yeah, I'm not sure what stage of the tournament this would be in.
I would guess early stages of the money.
Okay, so yeah, early position opens off 42 bigs, folds to the big blind, which is John, and he has the 10-3 of diamonds. It's pretty standard.
Wait, can I bring up one thing quick?
Please do.
Okay, so for future, anytime someone sends, for those listening, anyone watching, whatever, anytime you send in a hand history, you should always bring in relevant information of what stage of the tournament you're in, what the buy-in is, where you're playing, what percentage of the field is paid, how many entries, like whether it's a turbo, like all that type of stuff is really important. And then if you do have HUD stats, any history with the player, if you're playing live, any reads, because like, let's say this was nearing the money, that's going to change our thoughts on it. If it's
100%,
if it's so on and so forth.
Yeah, all that information is definitely relative. So Ryan, thank you so much for bringing that up. If you do send me hands, all that information in the future would be beneficial, and we will definitely do more episodes. So if you guys are interested in having your hand broken down, send me a DM on Discord, okay? Anyways, back to the hand. This is pre-flop. Early position opens on 42. We defend the 10-3 of diamonds in the big blind with 58. 58 big blinds. Seems pretty standard so far, yeah?
Yep.
The flop comes 6-5 deuce, 6 of hearts, 5 of spades, deuce of hearts. What are our options here as the big blind with the 10-3 of diamonds? So we got a gutter and a 10, 1 over. No backdoor flush.
Theory, definitely just pure checks. Exploitatively, you can certainly start leading, and I don't mind it, especially on say like ignition.
Okay.
I don't mind a quarter pot lead. I think both are fine.
Quarter pot lead. Okay. So yeah, so our hero, our John, actually bets. He does lead 2 big blinds into what is 5 big blinds. Is that right?
Probably 5.5.
5.5.
Yeah, 5.5.
So he does lead here. He leads 2 big blinds. Again, he didn't provide any history on the opponent, but it is an early position open.
I don't mind leading. I just think that's like an unnecessarily large lead.
Okay.
What do you guys think?
I typically wouldn't play it this way, but again, I've discussed this on the podcast before. I need to add some more leads into my game. It's not something I'm typically more of game flow. I will. Here's the thing: if it was like 4, 5, 6, I'd probably be doing more leading than on 6, 5.
Yeah. So the board textures that theory leads at somewhat high frequencies are only 4, 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, and like 6, 7, 8, like two tone, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
And rainbow, and by fairly high frequency, I mean that's like in the 30 to 50% range each. Okay. But I lead on all boards that are similar to those at very high frequencies.
Okay.
Like on those boards, I'm leading at like 70%, 80% frequency. I mash them. But I lead on all those boards at really high frequencies. In this spot, I don't mind leading. It's just like a quarter pot bet will achieve a lot of the same stuff that this 40% pot bet does. Okay. So I don't mind the idea of it. I think it's fine. I wouldn't pick this size. And the reason why it's fine is like when we lead here, let's say we were to lead here in theory. When we lead here in theory, theory has this perfect sharing of information and has to have this like balanced out ranges with each other, right? So if you start leading on this board in theory, your opponent has like too strong of a range advantage and will start like raising versus you a lot. That's why it doesn't raise.
That makes sense.
But exploitatively, our opponent here, are they going to like start raising us a ton here? No, they're probably going to overfold and underraise. So leading here is actually a pretty good decision to make, and it's probably better than checking, but it can't be worse than checking. Like it's at worst neutral to checking. I think both are. That's why I think both are fine. I think either's fine, but leading two bigs, that's probably worse than checking.
Okay.
Because like you're risking an extra like 0.75 big blinds that you don't need to risk to accomplish the same thing that leading 25% pot will achieve.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
My only other thought is on Ignition, I feel like that's a site where people just blast chips in the middle. Like, I don't know. We never know who we're really up against there, but Ignition tends to be one of the sites where I'm like, okay, let's just, it may be similar to Club WPT where it's like, I kind of want to just catch a piece and then put a lot of chips in because
they make so many mistakes.
Yeah, but a lot of people make mistakes versus, like, I feel as though on all sites, people make mistakes versus bets that are just like overfolding and underraising, especially on flop.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like it's very hard to like hit proper raise frequencies. Like literally almost nobody hits proper raise frequencies versus flop bets. Like almost nobody does. Like very good aggressive players do, and literally nobody else does. That being said, like if you check and they bet a quarter pot and check raises, that's perfectly good as well.
This hand does get much more interesting in that I have some of my own thoughts, but I'll get to those after we get through the hand. So hero bets 2 big blinds. Early position ends up calling the 2 big blinds. Poker Tracker tells me there's 9 big blinds in the pot. And the turn is an offsuit 5. So to remind you of the board, it's 6-5 deuce, 2 hearts, and then the 5 of clubs on the turn, pairing the board. Is this a hand from the big blind, now that we've led the flop, that we want to continue barreling?
Oh yeah, for sure. This is one of the best cards in the deck for us. Okay. Yeah, so now we just keep betting.
So into 9, what are we thinking here for size, considering we win 2 big blinds on the flop?
I'd probably go around 6.5. I would go around 2/3 pot. You don't need to go much larger than that. It like all bet sizes around that size accomplish the same thing. Anywhere around that half pot to 2/3 pot is going to work pretty well. There are very few rivers I'm going to check on.
And also correct me if you think I'm wrong here, if theory says I'm wrong, but even if we played the flop differently, where say we check called here, this is a turn where I would donk lead.
Yeah, this card is one of the best cards in the deck, if not the best card in the deck for us. 6s and 5s are equally incredible for us.
Yeah.
So this, and like, speaking of which, so actually flop and turn both, well, not this exact flop, but flops in general are spots in which people significantly underlead. Actually, before this, I did a coaching session, and turns as well are spots in which people significantly underlead. For instance, a session I did earlier, person I did a coaching session which this player, he had like really good pre-flop stats. Like his stats pre-flop were almost in line with theory. His like flop C betting stats were like pretty in line with theory. But when it came to like leading flop, his stats were literally 1/5 of where I was at. His flop check raise, while it was pretty good, it was still like 50% off. His turn lead was like 1/4 or 1/5 of where I was at. And that's where most people live in. They just like playing outside of flow is very unnatural to people. If like the concept of flow, you should just remove it from your mind if you ever think in those terms. And you should always think in terms of, is this good for my range or is this bad for my range? And anytime it's good for you, that's when you start thinking in terms of, oh, do I get to bet? So turn 5 here, one of the best cards in the deck for you, so you should be leading. Other cards I'd want to lead on if we had check called flop or keep betting on in this case are 4s, 3s, deuces, 6s, 7s, 8s, and 9s.
Things that enhance our range or improve our range. So straight, things that would give us
straights and board pairs.
Exactly. So awesome. And you did nail it. John he bets 6.8 into 9 bigs on the turn, on the 5 of clubs turn, which is then called by the early position raiser.
So when this happens, our opponent almost certainly has an overpair.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. I mean, we can essentially remove all, ace kings and ace queens.
Yeah. All those hands fold. Yeah.
Unless it's maybe ace king of hearts or something.
Yeah.
We can have like a lot of hearts.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could have those things as well. So it's like hearts and overpairs. Hearts will make up about they have about 20 heart combos, give or take. So since they only have about 20 heart combos and they have about 30 overpair combos, it's not looking too great for us. So it's going to be like pretty hard for us to win this hand, depending on exact river cards. So
okay.
Looking on some very specific rivers.
Well, there's 22 and a half big blinds in the pot. We're both still have, I mean, I would assume, let's see, 22. We probably have what, like a 1.7?
Yeah, 30 bigs.
Yeah, something like that. And the river is a deuce. So the full board, to remind everyone, is going to be 6 of hearts, 5 of spades, 2 of hearts is the flop, then the 5 of clubs on the turn, and the 2 of spades on the river. So it's a double paired board. And what are your thoughts here? I mean, my initial thought when reading this hand was there's a lot of draws that missed here.
Yeah, so that's part of an issue is we just have like straight draws at brick and we have hearts at brick.
Yep.
Okay, so let's say we jam.
Okay.
Since our opponent's just going to fold their own straight draws and flush draws at brick, we just win the pot automatically about 35-ish% of the time. So no matter what, we just win the pot automatically about that percent, pretty much no matter what. So we could probably bet about half pot or 2/3 pot, and it's probably profitable in its own right. So I do think we get to bet this. It's just a matter of, do we get to bet about half pot to force those flush draws to fold, or do we try to go for a size? Let's try to get everything to fold. I don't think we get to pick a large size because I don't think their overpairs are folding ever on this river card.
Yeah,
so
we just give ourselves the wrong price if we jam. Yeah,
that was my thought as well.
I think we should just go like half pot and get all their flush draws to fold.
So our hero John does end up jamming 47.3. Well, he has the opponent cover, but he jams and over jams the 22.5 bigs. And opponent does fold here. What are your overall thoughts here?
I think we got a flush draw to fold, and we could have gone the same thing for half pot.
Okay, Wes.
Yeah, that's like when I first read the hand, I didn't really know. As we were talking through it, I'm like, yeah, we can just. Our opponent's range is very like inelastic in the sense that the overpairs probably call anything, and the flush draws. I mean, look, if we lead for 10%, like, yeah, I think an ace high flush draw is still going to call, but like something around half pot. I was even thinking like, what if we go 40%? Something like that, where if we bet half pot as a bluff, we only need it to work a third of the time because we are trying to win 2 times what we're risking. So if the hands are going to do the exact same thing, once we got to about the turn, that's what my mind started doing. So yeah, okay. I pretty much just agree with that.
Okay. All right. I mean, again, thanks to John for sending us this hand. I feel like this hand is really fun to bring up first because, again, it's when Ryan was mentioning about flow, this kind of goes against what a lot of people, that are newer to poker, maybe even have been playing a while, but just are stuck in that flow would never do.
Mm-hmm. Let's say the river was a 9. I like the jam a lot more.
Because now 7-8 gets there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The river's a 9. I like jamming.
Because now we can target getting the overpairs.
Yeah, now we can get those overpairs to fold.
I like it. Yeah, and as I brought
or
up,
like even like A6 suited stuff like that.
Yeah.
And with without that 9 on the river, it feels like a lot of draws missed. So yeah, we're not going to get the overpairs to fold on what's.
Or even a river 6. River 6 would be a pretty good card to jam on. Like a deuce is just, it's like we're not repping a deuce on the flop or turn. Yeah, we are repping a 6 on the flop and kind of a 6 on the turn.
Yeah,
I like it. All right. Well, John, again, thanks again for that. Wesley, you want to bring up the second hand?
Yeah. So we're gonna do a hand. It was actually from my final table on ACR last night, but it didn't involve me. But it was just when I was watching it, I was like,
Wes, let me pause you for a second. This is absolutely mind blowing. You don't want to talk about yourself for a second? I can't believe it. All right, back to it.
Well, no, it's just, see, I get to mention I was at a final table.
That's forgive me. Okay.
Then.
Yeah, I love it.
All right, so $88 buy-in, 40K guaranteed, $8,700 up top. We have 7 players left at this final table. The shortest stack was like 9 big blinds. The biggest stack was 26, so not very deep. And this is cutoff versus big blind, both players with very good results. These are crushers, so that also made me curious. Like, because I don't think I play either of these hands this way. And you know what? I kind of want to. I'm not even going to share what they had. I kind of want to get Ryan your idea of what their ranges look like.
Start trying to deconstruct them or boil them down. I like it. Remind me their positions one more time.
Yeah, so it folds. It's going to be cutoff versus big blind.
Okay.
Cutoff has to start the hand. Cutoff has like 16.5 big blinds, and the big blind has 20, a little over 20.
Not deep stack by any means.
Yeah, basically just 20, and then so cutoff opens. Min raise, big blind goes to 3 bets to 5 big blinds, and cutoff just calls, which leaves like 11.5 big blinds. So SPR is like 1 right now.
That sounds pretty standard by both so far.
Flop is Jack of spades, 9 of diamonds, 6 of clubs.
Okay.
Big blind bets 1.5 big blinds.
Yeah. Also not too surprising. Yeah.
And then cutoff calls. So we've got like 14.5, just under 14.5, or it's 14.37, I should say. Turn is the 7 of diamonds. So Jack 9, 6, 7, now 2 diamonds, and then big blind checks.
Yep.
And I remember thinking, I feel like cutoff is either going to check, jam, or bet like, just over 2 or something. Cutoff bets 3.6.
Yeah, they should bet. They should bet probably pretty close to E, which would be. That's probably about it. It's like 35% pot, 40% pot. They might go a little smaller because of ICM. So yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay. What are you?
Yeah, where are we thinking?
What are your thoughts? Yeah, what are your thoughts on their ranges?
Okay, so the way that pre-flop works, I even pulled it up in GTO Lab, although I've been doing lots of GTO ICM studying, so I know it pretty well. So the way that FT ICM works is as risk premium goes up, so as ICM goes up, sizes get smaller, ranges get more polar, and kind of get like 3-bet ranges get more polar, and then calling ranges get more condensed. And then as ranges get more condensed post flop, and as one range is very polar and one range is very condensed, then sizes get really small for the most part too, because you have this range that has incredibly nutted stuff with bluffs, and then you have this other range that is just incredibly condensed. And usually, just in this situation, as a general rule of thumb in chip BB, bets just tend to be either very small or like very, very massive, like just from the aggressive player. And then the way that high ICM spots work as a general rule of thumb is bet sizes just tend to be small for the most part, because you don't need a large bet to have a lot of leverage. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, every bet you make, you're just putting in a lot of risk. So betting a lot of chips, it's very hard to bet a large portion of your stack profitably. So generally speaking, just bets are just tiny as a general rule of thumb anyways, in order to be able to bet anything really, like to be able to bet frequently. So for all these reasons, just the way that ICM just works is just it's kind of a game of chicken that involves lots of small aggression. Like a great example of this, which when I first started really working with GTO Lab and we're just studying, I just end game ICM a lot, and not just like FT ICM, but like 30 people left ICM, that type of stuff. You don't really see that many calls versus opens outside of calling from small blind and big blind. It's mostly just 3-bets. Like great example is here I'm looking at a sim right now. U8 open off 50 hijack. I guess hijack has some calls off 30, but like cutoff is only 3-betting off 20. Just pure 3-bets. Does nothing else, which isn't unusual. Like you'll see 230 big blind stacks, low jack hijack, where hijack is only 3-betting versus an open with 30 people left. Literally only 3-betting, 0 calls. Which and chip EV is ridiculous. That's just never a thing. So this type of aggression is very normal. Okay, so then now you can take this post flop. So the opener here has a pretty normal looking opening range ish, depending on exact stack dynamics. The fact that they're middling the stack, the fact that they're probably not opening into like chip leaders or anything like that behind, the fact that there's an extreme short stack, their opening range is going to be tighter than what it would be in chip EV, but it's not ridiculously tight. So chip EV opening range from the cutoff is going to be 35%-ish, a little bit tighter because they're opening off 17. So it's probably about 28, 30. And it's going to be a little bit tighter than that. So they're probably opening, 23%, 25%. So the big blinds range is going to be polar between ace-x blockers, these like weak ace-x blockers, like ace-6 off to like ace-2 off, some like smatterings of some like weak king X offsuit, and then they have like queens plus, maybe some ace king suiteds, and like that's it. So their range is like very, very polar. And then when the big blind 3-bets, the cutoff's calling range is here. I can see it exactly in here. Okay, so the cutoff's opening range here, I was pretty much right. It's 25% of hands they're playing. And big blind is 3-betting pretty much exactly what I said. Jacks plus, ace queen plus, and then ace-7 off on down, some king-9 off on down, very small percentages of each. Yep. And then when they 3-bet, the cutoff's calling range is like some middling ace-x suited, some like suited broadways, some like pocket pairs, some of its strongest offsuit ace-x broadways, and like that's it. But it's like really weird looking. Like it's a lot of its stuff, it just jams as a response. So it's all these like weird mixed frequencies of stuff, but it's all in that type of stuff. So its calling range isn't surprising. It's just it's all clumped around this board texture. So when my assumption is when the big blind bets flop and then checks turn, the big blind's range is mostly fairly weak and has some like traps in it. And I don't know what other hands I guess it would like check turn with that isn't like a trap. Maybe like a ace-9 bluff or like.
Was it Jack 9 6 7?
Yep.
Okay.
Like maybe ace-9 off it could have, or like king-9 off. There aren't that many hands that aren't like middling weak showdown that it has.
And this is from big blind, right?
Yeah, from big blind. So I'm trying to think of like the weak-ish hands that big blind has that checks. So the cutoff, essentially what I'm trying to figure out is why cutoff would ever even need to bet large. So the cutoff doesn't have very many reasons to bet large because the big blind essentially never has a strong like check call that isn't like either the big blind has like some really nutted hands or they have like some very weak showdown-ish hands. And the cutoff's range is just incredibly strong and condensed. So the other thing too is, of course, with how condensed these ranges are, plus you have high risk premium. Then on top of that, usually the way that bet sizes are built in theory, it's around the concept, I'm sure you guys know this, it's called E, or geometric sizes.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, you take the same size from each street, and that's generally how theory builds around. And then in this spot, I would assume that size is pretty close to it.
Okay.
So when you say these guys are crushers, picking this type of size, it's maybe slightly smaller than geometric, but it's not like a lot smaller. So I assume it's like slightly smaller than geometric, and which sounds fine in a high risk premium spot.
Yeah.
Does big blind end up calling?
So big blind calls.
With how much? Wait, how much does big blind have behind at this point?
So cutoff has 6.5 blinds left, and
yeah.
big
So
blind,
he bet E then. He bet geometric. Yeah. So these guys are. I know for sure that there are, especially programs that work with ACR, where it just has you can just click geometric.
Actually, I think he bet exactly quarter. He bet 3.59 into 14.37.
And that actually sets up a geometric river size. We're very close to it.
It's very close. It'll be like 21.5, 6.5 into 21.5.
Yeah, so it'll be like just above. But yeah, there are like tools you can use. Maybe Table Tamer has it, but I know there are tools you can use where you can just click E and it just does it automatically for you.
Okay. All right. So, sorry, remind me the stack sizes again at this point, Wes.
6.
Yeah, so
6 and
so cutoff has 6.5 blinds behind. The pot now is going to be 21 point, just over 21.5, and then cutoff, big blind has 10 big blinds. Cutoff has 10.
Okay.
So big blind has 10 big blinds. Cutoff 6.5. Pot 21.5.
Can I say real quick that I feel like you will not see plays like this on American only facing sites?
Yeah, no, definitely not. Unless it's like two of the best players on. Like yesterday, I played with Foxen on WSOP.
Okay. Yeah.
So they exist, but they're pretty rare.
Yeah. So this is the kind of stuff you see on an ACR final table compared to something like a clubs poker or a global poker final table.
Or WSOP.
Or WSOP, right? Yeah. So
no, that's very, and that's why I think I knew I needed to think about this hand. And so the river is the 3 of diamonds. So backdoor diamonds come in.
Yep. Mm.
Big blind checks, and then cutoff doesn't go all in, but bets 5.5 blinds.
Yeah, I was gonna say big cutoff's gonna bet 5.5.
Yep.
And it just leaves like a half big behind.
He leaves one blind.
Or one behind. Yeah, 6.5.
Yep.
Yeah, cutoff, if he bets, he's never gonna go all in. He's gonna pick 5.5 or 6 bigs.
Okay.
Yeah. And big blind actually goes all in.
Wow.
Yeah, which actually, given the hands, because we'll get to showdown, cutoff calls it off. Given the hands, it actually surprises me that he doesn't just call, because it felt like he had a bluff catcher. But
maybe Ryan can give us some insight to his thoughts on that. But so he jams. So obviously, since it gets to showdown, cutoff calls. And what do we see?
Cutoff has 2 black queens.
Okay.
And big blind has king 9 offsuit with the king of diamonds.
You nailed it though, Ryan. Yeah, king 9.
Yeah.
He said that.
It was like a weak showdown hand.
Yeah.
What do we think about
a trap or a weak showdown hand?
What do you? I think. I mean, in my opinion, a less theory studied, human being here.
That king 9 seems like a bluff jam.
That's what I was wondering too. Like in the exact, because I had a couple tables going and I was like watching it, and it happened really quickly, and I was like, I saw the jam call, and then I saw him lose to queens. I'm like, oh, that's a sick bluff. And I'm like, wait a minute, the guy only had 1 big blind though. You're not folding out a jack, or you're not folding out a better hand, are you?
Yeah, I don't like the jam. Unless he actually thought queens would fold ever.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. But I mean, queens is just getting way too good of odds to fold ever at that point.
Now, if he had like 3 bigs back, then I really like that jam.
I mean, like, well, that kind of aligns with what you said about where the smaller bet sizings have way more leverage.
Yeah, exactly.
So, guys,
I
and
think
also, let me just
outside of
mention.
King 9 jamming the river, I think both essentially played it perfectly. I mean, King 9s are really good here if we look at pre-flop. King 9 off is a pure mix. It three bets at 30% frequency. It calls at 64% frequency. It folds at 6% frequency. And when big blind three bets cut off with pocket queens, queens is supposed to just rip, but
yeah, maybe he thought the guy was like over bluffing, or I don't know, but
I don't mind. Honestly, I don't mind trapping with queens here. I think it's fine.
It clearly worked out great for him.
Cutoff is also supposed to be. So this is what cutoff is supposed to be jamming versus three bet. Ace X suited, Ace Deuce, or Ace 8 are all just pure jams.
Yeah,
in full, just pure rips.
That's
6 through jacks are all just like through queens essentially are all pure jams. Kings is a pure jam. King queen suited pure jam. Like ace 10 through ace king are essentially all pure rips. Like you just go ham versus the big blinds 3-bet. You just put them in the blender, stick in their face, get wrecked.
See, what I think we run into, Max, and a lot of listeners might agree, is like if we're on global or something and we see this, we're like, oh God, we're just running into the nuts here versus this tiny thing. Like you don't see these 3-bet bluffs with the King X and Ace X offsuit,
Is this why the Europeans love to come to the United States to play us?
Yeah. And also why they end up making really big like technically exploitative mistakes, because they'll like play in theory and then just like get shown kings over and over and over. And over.
Because this guy looks like they just punt in spots.
Right. And because against these opponent types, they're just not going to fold. They don't understand it like they do. But that's I feel like that's I have a lot to say about
that's like where we get our edge back, is like, sure, this kid will like hit these nodes perfectly, and like I've been studying enough where I'm not going to be too far off, but like I'll at least understand that this guy's big.
You can adapt, right? Yeah. I think that's
we can go to the middle of Iowa, and we know that
my favorite place,
OMC farmer guy, is not finding the right 3-bet bluffs from the big blind.
No. Definitely not.
He's calling this pre-flop and then maybe just lead jamming when he flops middle pair.
Wes, that was a great hand. Also, I do want to mention, for the people who are newer and are maybe intermediate but aren't familiar with all the jargon that's being mentioned, feel free to hop in the Discord and chat with us, ask questions, and don't be afraid to, because if you want to improve your game, that's where you get started. So link in the description.
No, another place you can improve your game.
Let's hear about it, Ryan.
Learn Pro Poker. We have a paid subscription site. We also have a free site on school.com/learnpropoker. I'll post a link I'll give it to Max. You can post it to the Discord. It's fairly free. We have community section, works the same as like Facebook message board, that type of stuff. Also, I give out free coaching sessions on there. Been doing about 2 a month. Do stuff like that all the time. If you're one of the top posters, the way you get points is you make posts, people like it. If you're one of the top posters, get a free one-on-one session with me. I do one of those each month. And then, we have on the paid version of our site, it's right now it's $50 a month, but we do discounts and stuff pretty often. I think we're up to about 500 videos and covers pretty much every aspect of the game.
Yeah. So if you really want to dive in and improve your game, and then also kind of, if this stuff, the way we talk about poker here is kind of the lingo is foreign to you, get in there, take advantage of these tools, because this is how you will, improve your baseline. Ryan, I do have one more hand from a listener here. You ready?
Yep. Let's go.
All right. So this is from one of my favorite people, Mr. Chris Jones. He's a rec poker guy, Suited Kings guy. I'm sure you know who he is.
I know Chris pretty well.
Yep. Absolutely. So this is from a Win 1100.
Okay. I also know the Win very well.
Yes. A great place to play poker. He says, is this the right play? What does Ryan think of the small blind play too? All right, we'll start here. The blinds are 400, 800. We have 44K effective with 10 of clubs, 10 of spades under the gun. We make it 1,700, small blind and big blind call.
Okay, I'm sorry, repeat that.
No problem. So we have essentially 55 big blinds effective.
10 of spades, 10 of clubs under the gun.
1,700.
Okay.
And both blinds come along.
Okay, so pot size is
59.
Yep.
Yeah, well, the human calculator over here can do it quick. All right, and the flop comes. This is an interesting, a dynamic flop, if you will. It's 10 of diamonds, 9 of hearts, 8 of hearts. So we flop top set. Thoughts?
I mean, it's dynamic-ish. You said there's a flush draw?
There is a flush draw. Yep. 8, 9 of hearts.
Dynamic-ish. Yeah, I mean, so there's a couple different ways to play this. So the way that multi-way pots work is kind of similar how higher ICM spots work, kind of similar to how 3-bet pots work. Is for the most part, you're supposed to use small bet sizes. I haven't done like a lot of 3-way solves just because the simple 3-way for the longest time was the only way you could really look at 3-way solves and wasn't very good. Wiz did just come out with their 3-way solves, and they're supposed to be supposedly, I mean, they say they're decent. I'm sure they are probably perfectly fine. But essentially, if you do a decent amount of 3-way work, what you'll end up seeing is that the way that solvers work is it largely picks small sizes, and the exceptions it uses are very similar to the exceptions it uses in 3-bet and 4-bet pots, which is these really hyper-dynamic board textures. So more like Jack 10X two-tone, where the X card isn't a straight card. So like Jack 10-6 or like those types of boards, or like Queen 10-7 two-tone. So hyper dynamic. 10-9-8 is like a middling dynamic board. And the reason why it's a middling dynamic board is because the best hand possible only really changes on board pairs and flush cards. So it's like, to me, this is like a 50 percentile dynamic board texture.
I appreciate you explaining
10-9-6 would be more dynamic because best hand possible would change on 8s and jacks and queens and kings. 10-9-5 would be even more dynamic because also aces would change best hand possible.
Wes, what did you say was in the pot? 57?
59
or 5,900. Okay. So you said we should probably be most of the time betting small here. What are
in theory?
In theory, right? This is
in
the win 11.
I would bomb it.
So this is the win 1100. And again, this is going to be full of amateur opponents.
Yeah,
it will have some good players in there for sure. Actually, probably a good amount of good players. But I'm assuming it's during the WSOP.
Yeah, so let's say like both of my opponents are people I've never seen before, don't look like they're professionals. I'm going to pick 5,000 as a bet size.
I think I would do the same thing. I would size up here live for sure.
Yep. And let's say maybe the small blind looks like someone who's like pretty good. The big blind looks like a weak recreational player. Same thing. Either or, I'm going to upsize because this is a board texture where the likelihood a player has like a pair and a straight draw, or a straight draw and a flush draw, or a pair and a flush draw is incredibly high. So
just charge them, right? We want to just try to make it simple. Just charge them.
So when I'm playing versus recreational players, I go back to old school poker, which is how wet is this board? So just is there a draw possible? Is there a good hand possible? Am I going to get paid? And
I love it. I think that will relate with a lot of our listeners as well. And in this case, our Chris does not go large. He actually goes, I think he looks probably 65%. It's 3,500. Wes, what percentage is that?
It's 60%. Like 60.
Okay. So it's a little, I mean, it's multi-way. Not often do you open under the gun, get 3 ways, and then are in position. But he bets 3,500 into 5,900. Small blind calls and big blind folds.
Okay.
So
12-9. Yep.
At this point, Ryan, is it safe to say that we can't really narrow our opponent's range too much? I mean, we can narrow it down pretty well. They have either a pair and a straight draw, like a king jack type hand, ace jack type hand. I guess we can remove the nothings, obviously.
Yeah.
Which is a lot.
Yeah.
And now the turn is the queen of diamonds. So there is any jack is a straight now. It's the four of
and they can have flushes.
Yeah. So there's two flush draws out there now. The 10 of diamonds, queen of diamonds, 8 of hearts, 9 of hearts.
Double flush draw, right?
Yeah, double flush draw. And small blind ends up. So wait, what the pot is here? 7K plus 59.
It's 12, 9.
12, 9 is right. And small blind leads on this turn. He leads 4K. So what is just a little under third pot, right? What are your thoughts?
They could have a straight, but I would expect straights to lead larger. This to me feels more like 2-pair. Feels like a queen 10, queen 9 type hand pretty often. And also this tells me that our opponent is very likely a very weak player.
All right.
So this might take some like player history. So let's say I've seen this player like bet with like a small size with some really strong hands before. I'm definitely just calling. If I've seen them like definitely upsize their stronger hands, I'm definitely raising. If I don't really have much information, I would raise as well, because I would generally expect if they have a straight to bet like 7,000, 8,000, 9,000.
Well, so they want to, I mean, especially on these double, these two-tone boards where we want to charge all the flush draws, right? I agree. Wes,
finding this raise is difficult, but if you just logic get out, like why would they bet 4K and have a straight?
I
think they have 2-pair.
Do we think that calling can be okay too to keep bluffs in for potential river call?
I don't think they really have a bluff here ever.
Okay.
I think they either have a 2-pair or they have a flush draw that's trying to get good odds and maybe consider running a bluff on uncertain rivers.
Okay. Wes, any thoughts on that before we get onto the action?
Not a ton. I mean, my initial thought was to call, and then we can call or raise depending on rivers. But I like the logic where this player type, it doesn't feel like they would use this size for a straight, and we beat everything else. So,
yeah, I'm aligned with that as well. And like Ryan said, it would be damn cool to somehow find a thin value raise here and just charge 2 pairs if you could.
Also, the other thing that's important here is I know that this is early stages of this tournament, and based off of the context of our opponent leading here, I know this is almost certainly just a weak recreational player.
Yeah.
So, even though Chris didn't give us this information, I know from context clues what stages of the tournament we're in and who our opponent is. If I didn't have this information, I would, just be inclined to just like call this, right? But since I have that information, and since for me, this is just like a normal size tournament, this is just like an average tournament for me in the early stages of an average tournament for me. Now, let's say you're someone who's listening to this and this is like top end of buying for you. You don't have this type of certainty of information. Calling this, I think, would be very reasonable. So you should always put, decisions into context for yourself. So I'm going to be much more willing to raise for somewhat thin value in spots where this is a common situation for me. In a common situation in a somewhat low variance spot, I'm going to be much more willing to push a thin edge than, let's say this was late stages of this tournament. 30 people left, I'm just calling this. Or if this was like, say, a 5K freeze out, I'm just going to call this. But if this for you is the equivalent of a 5K freeze out because you're only firing one entry into this and you don't get to play many of these, I think calling this is perfectly fine.
All right.
Yeah, that's well said.
So,
Chris does call.
So he does call. There's 12-9 in the pot prior to, so it's, was that 20.9? Yeah, 20.9K in the pot. The river is the 4 of clubs. So none of the flush draws complete. It's a banana, as we say. Yep. Now, small blind bets 25K, so slightly over pot. What do we do with tens here?
So even though our opponent probably wouldn't bet 4K on the turn with the straight, they're probably also not bluffing the river.
Okay.
So I would fold.
Let me mention the full board again for the listeners, just so they can kind of mull this over a little bit. We open pocket 10, small blind and big blind come along. The flop is 10-9-8 with the 8-9 of hearts and the 10 of diamonds. The turn is the queen of diamonds, bringing a 4 to a straight out there and 2 flush draws. And then the river is the banana 4 clubs. Wes, thoughts before we say the result here?
I would expect to see a lot of King Jack here. I mean, I kind of agree with the analysis on the turn, but it's also like, well, now we get a very contradictory piece of information. So I would expect, I would expect, because like, even if it's just ace Jack or Jack 10 or whatever, it feels like this is an overbet designed to get called by another Jack,
Okay.
Um,
just because of the small sizing on the turn, is that because I mean
well, no, I'm saying it goes against. It doesn't make sense with the turn, but like in a vacuum, when this sort of player makes this bet on the river, it's like,
I don't think it's designed to get called by a jack. I think it's a jack that's trying to go polar or trying to make it look like a bluff.
Yeah,
And they just
that's fair.
have two pair or whatever, and they're just trying to get a hero. And even though, like, if I had to say, like, when they have a jack here, I think they have exactly king jack, or they have like ace jack of diamonds or hearts or whatever. I think like when they have a pure jack on the turn, they have like a very, very, very good jack. So like I would have raised turn and probably gotten jammed on and been like, why'd I raise thin for value? But I still would have raised thin for value. It's just like, even though I don't think they have a straight on the turn, when they tell me they have a straight on the river, I'm generally going to believe that. That being said, the way I would fold the river is I would actually give myself an opportunity to call. And the way I would give myself an opportunity to call live is I would look for a lot of different tells, a lot of different ways to find tells. There's one of the main ones. This is one of the easiest ones, called the pulse tell. It's one of the most common like live tells, and why you should always protect your neck. The way it works is, everyone has like a pretty easy to see pulse for the most part. Some people, they're harder to see. You can usually find it in people. The way it works is most people, when they're under some type of stress, their pulse is going like pretty hard. And then when they calm down, their pulse slows down. Most people's pulses will slow down after about 2 or 3 minutes. So if you wait 2 or 3 minutes and their pulse slows down, they usually have strong value. If after about 3 minutes their pulse is still going really strong, they're usually bluffing. I would say that tell probably has like 80% plus reliability. So if I see someone's pulse going after 3 minutes, I call almost always. Even if I don't think they're bluffing, I just call. There are a handful of other tells that I use. One's called the change tell. I won't really go too much in details about it, but one's called the change tell. A lot of guys who are very good at live tells use it a lot. It's a very good one, but it's incredibly hard to use reliably. And it's one that you can get a lot of false positives on. There are a handful of other ones that are like ones that work for certain types of players. But the change tell is probably the one that can work for other professionals, and that you can reverse it versus other pros if they don't realize you're very well versed in it and can know how to do it very subtly. I've gotten some people with the reverse version of it and some really fun spots. So yeah, I would give myself an opportunity to find a bluff catch using live tells. And I've found some like really fun bluff catches in these spots, where I thought my opponent was bluffing 0%. Waited for the live tells to come in, got multiple confirmations, or just got the pulse tell and called off and was correct when I literally thought they would bluff here 0% of the time. All of a sudden, oh hey, they are bluffing. Call.
Well, Chris Jones, start. Hopefully that next time you're in this spot, start looking at that pulse, but give it some time. Really make them boil over and see if it calms down. We do end up getting to see showdown here. So Chris puts on the cape and makes the call. Our opponent has the ace of hearts and the 5 of hearts.
Ooh, nice.
Nice call. So a nice call there. What do you think of the small blinds play with the ace 5 of hearts here, Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind. Like, I think on turn,
so they had a missed flush draw, by the way.
The lead, except they probably should have gone a little larger.
That was my thought as well.
Great story, because like when they led that size, I'm like, oh, they don't have a straight, but I love their river bluff.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with you. If we want the story to make sense, I would like to see what on the turn there was 12-9. What are we thinking on the turn? Maybe something like
half pot.
Yeah, half pot seems good.
Yeah.
Wes, any thoughts from you on that to wrap this hand up?
Yeah, I mean, sick call. It's kind of one where I would be sort of just in the blender.
Oh, you're folding this. You're folding tens here for sure, Wes. I've seen you. I've seen you fold sets on two or three straights, no flush.
Yeah, no, for sure. Here's what I was thinking, and I think you know this, Max. So I was playing with Mike Matisow this summer. I was on his left, and I went 3 streets. I jammed river, and I had value. And he thought for a long time, and he ended up folding. But right before he folded, he literally touches my wrist and says, "Oh no, the pulse is calm." And then he mucks, and I'm like,
don't touch me,
are you
rat.
kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, is that allowed?
Dude,
like, I know they're not
It's definitely not allowed.
Press charges on this man right now.
And I kind of think he was just doing it to mess with me. Like,
yeah,
I'm sure he was like fucking with you with it, because like you can't like touch someone and get a pulse. Like, it's not how the pulse rate works, anyways. But I know he's doing it to fuck with you. But that is pretty funny.
Yeah. Max, I do have one. There is one more hand. It's only pre-flop, so I think we can do it quickly here.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm good with that.
This is Noah Latour. Some of you probably know him, former Minnesota guy.
What's his Discord tag for those to be familiarized? It's NLATR something.
Yeah. So it was he was 4th out of 14 in a PKO on WPT Gold. I think the 1K PKO, maybe. I feel like he probably studied it. I don't know. Is there a 1K PKO on there?
There is. There was last night during the series.
Okay. So I guess he was in 4th of 14. So 7-handed table. Under the gun opens to 2 bigs off of 74 bigs. And Noah has 75 bigs. So he covers them by 1. Hero, so we're in the cutoff with ace king of clubs. 3-bet to 5 bigs.
No info on the stacks behind.
No info on stacks behind.
So obviously, normally I would 3-bet this, but let's say there's a short stack behind, I might be pure calling.
Hoping to get a squeeze from them, or just to get more information. Okay.
Just to let's say there's like a
induce a squeeze. Yeah.
So like if there's a 6 big blind stack behind, I'm calling, or like even a 12 big blind stack behind.
Mm-hmm.
I would not have a 3-bet range. I would call, have this 12 big blind stack jam. Then when the opener jams, we get to call off.
Yeah, that's a huge spot there.
Also, when we do 3-bet, we need to 3-bet much larger. The minimum size I would pick would be 7.
When we're this deep.
There's a stack behind where we're 3-betting smaller to have the action be able to reopen.
Yep.
In which case, I wouldn't 3-bet because I want to. So either I'm 3-betting to 7 or I'm calling.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Okay. So we'd like to go bigger there. So it folds back to under the gun, who 4-bets to 15 big blinds. And I guess the only question is, do we call? Do we shove here?
I would call pretty comfortably versus essentially everyone.
In position too.
Yeah, especially in position. You don't really have a reason to 5-bet jam in position. I mean, you want to keep in all their bluffs, and you have position.
And they're probably not calling with worse, so.
Yeah, that's the other thing, is they're probably not calling with worse. If you do jam, yes, you do get like the rare time they 4-bet jacks and queens, and you do get like maybe ace king to fold, but you also fold out all of their bluffs, and it just sucks when you run into kings or aces for 150 big blind pot with 14 left.
Okay, cool. So Noah ended up jamming. Noah, you were wrong both times.
It's okay though. I mean, it's okay.
3-betting is fun. Like, obviously jamming it's not like jamming doesn't make money. Like 3-betting always makes money. The jamming always makes money. It's just, which decision is going to be the best. 3-betting will obviously be very good. It's just I would go a little bit larger, and jamming will obviously be good, but it's very hard for it to be better than calling. It's very, very difficult for it to be better than calling. Now, if you had 60 bigs, then we can start talking about jamming. If you have 55 bigs or 50 bigs, I would almost certainly just be jamming.
Cool. Ryan, thank you so much for taking the time to break down some listener hands with us and just kind of catching up again. It's been nice. It's been a minute since we've had you on, and we look forward to having you back on again.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, for sure. Tell us quick, what's your plans for the future here?
Tournaments I will be grinding a good amount on WSOP and Club WPT Gold. Those are definitely like the main spots I've been grinding. I'll obviously be dabbling live, but yeah, mostly online grinding. And of course, I'll be working on my site, Learn Pro Poker, so check it out. Wes can post a link in the Discord, but yeah.
I'll also post a link for that in the description of wherever you're listening to this. So if you guys are interested in, checking out Learn Pro Poker, link in the description wherever you listen to this, you can find that there. And just a couple of quick plugs before you guys go. Tomorrow, Tuesday, the 19th, we have our meetup game on clubs. Wes and I are going to go and just punt as much as possible. So if you want a good chance to become...
Literally, I'm not even going to be doing a normal online session tomorrow. I'm not going to be streaming. I'm going to be at a baseball game playing on my phone. So I'm going to just launch it off probably.
Also, Wes and I
it'll be fun.
Wes and I are going to be giving away a Suited Kings / Tilted Compass hoodie to the winner of tomorrow's meetup game. So make sure, actually, when I say tomorrow, that's going to be the day this comes out. So the day, if you're listening to this, the day it came out, meetup games tonight, 7:30 p.m. Central, 55 sweeps coin buy-in on Clubs Poker. If you have not signed up for that yet, make sure to do so using the link in the description to help support the podcast. Again, Learn Pro Poker, link in the description if you're interested in improving your game. We have Wes's current bankroll challenge from 10K to 100K, which he will be taking a break until next week.
Yeah,
from the day this comes out.
I'm recording. I'm streaming tonight, but once this episode is out, correct, I will be back Sunday.
And then also we have our Patreon, guys. If you're interested in supporting the podcast, Wes and I do put 2 to 3 videos out per week where we break down hands. If you're interested in, hearing more content from Wes and I and learning from us, feel free to join the Patreon. We appreciate your support. Lastly, I have our merch, which I've already brought up, this Tilted Compass Suited Kings hoodie. If you guys want to get some sweet swag, make sure to check that out. And also, I guess, Ryan, let me ask you, is there anywhere where people can get some of that sweet Learn Pro Poker gear? I see you got a hat on there.
Not actively right now, but if we get enough demand we'll probably do another run of the gear. There are companies that we could always do a run with.
Awesome.
So yeah, we might again at some point.
Awesome. And then again, guys, if you're interested in having us break down your hand in the future, hop in the Discord. You know where to find it. And Wes, am I missing anything?
No, I mean, even though I'm in Minnesota and I can't play it, I get these notifications from WSOP.com and I see there's a circuit event that just started. So I don't know. Ryan might be itching to go play that.
Yeah, I'll be hopping in there.
I love it, man. Good luck
tonight. I play some games.
Good luck tonight, Ryan. Wes, good to see you again, my friend. And to everybody else, good luck on the felt, and we'll see you guys next week.